Welcome to the podcast. We do recover with Jared Miller, your host.
And I'm Dr. Terry Sellers, your co-host.
This is a podcast about recovery from addiction.
We want to talk about what successful recovery can look like.
Brought to you by Subs Recovery Center, Rise Up Subs, and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn.
Welcome to episode 159, everybody. Hope everybody's out there having a wonderful, wonderful Friday. It's finally here. On today's episode, we have a couple amazing guests, some men, some myths, some legends. First one I want to introduce, Jordan Burningham. He's the CEO of Diamond Detox Recovery. Jordan, thank you for making an effort to get on this podcast, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited.
We also have the one, the only, Thurl Bailey. I watched this guy play for the Utah Jazz in the 90s growing up. I cannot believe this dude is on my podcast today. Mr. Bailey, how are you doing, sir?
I'm feeling old. You're basically saying you saw me as a kid. So, you know how old that makes me. No, it's a pleasure. Pleasure to be on with you guys and really appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you. We also have a man, myth, and legend in and of his own for a number of things, the Doc Terry Sellers.
Oh, thanks. I'm just me. I'm just me. But Big T doesn't remember this, but I used to deliver babies, and my partner was Greg Gordon. So I think you remember man. Greg. Yeah, good guy.
Loved him.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we got that little connection. So,
from what I understand, Mr. Bailey, you're getting ready to do this only for a Jazz game tonight.
Well, yeah. You know, my paying job is to follow the Jazz around and talk about something I think I know about basketball. So I've been doing that for the last 26 years with the Jazz, and Craig Bolajai, Jack, and I are the voices of the Jazz. So tonight we've got they're all big games for the Jazz, but tonight we've got Minnesota. So it's going to be a pretty good battle with our young guys and some of their vets.
Nice. Looking forward to watching the end result of that game. Tell me this, why is it that you're on a podcast about recovery and mental health? Why is this near and dear to your heart? You said my paid job, right? You're taking time out of your day to jump on here. I know you and Jordan are real close, but maybe share with our listeners why this is important to you.
Well, I don't think there's anybody out there, listening or not, that hasn't been affected in some way by drug addiction, alcohol addiction, substance abuse. If not directly, then I'm sure indirectly with loved ones and family. And so when you think about anybody, not just me because I may be high profile, but when you think about how you want to use your platform, how you want to use your name, what do you want to champion? You know, when I met Jordan and he really took me on this journey of what he was doing, it was just no question about it. And it not like it was my first time, but I always try to be cognizant and aware of people and organizations who are really into helping others, into servicing other people and healing them. And so long story short, we got connected through another friend of mine who is still working within this same field, and just formed a partnership. And so I think the one thing that Jordan will tell you that I said is I don't want to be a figurehead. You know, I know I have some assets that could bring some visibility and notoriety to it, but I want to get to know people. I want to meet, you know, people who are coming through the program, people who have had success, people, you know, what their struggle was like. So that's why. And I'm no different than anyone else. I think the difference on my end is that, you know, a lot of people may look where they haven't looked before because of me and be interested. So that's why I'm here.
Big T, well said, buddy. Well said.
Let me say one more thing about Big T and why I was so attracted. He's so genuine, he's compassionate, but he wants to also, from other conversations, leave a legacy of service behind, right? And that's a people helping people mentality, and that's my culture, is people helping people. As long as someone's into that,
100%.
We're going to get along real well. And he for sure is. And I want to help him with that legacy, and he'll help me with my legacy, and we'll go help people together, brother.
Well, that's what draws like people together, right? I mean, their kindness, their love for serving. I just think that's the one thing, regardless of what we agree or disagree on in life, the one thing that we should have in common is that we want to serve other people. So I appreciate that, Jordan.
Awesome, brother. Well, I'm sure you got to get on the road. I know you're running behind, so I don't want to keep you too long. Thank you for making an appearance. You got any last words for any viewers?
Yeah. I always try to tell people I played, my career finished about 25 years ago. And I think the most important thing to me wasn't my career, really. I mean, that was important. I mean, I loved what I did and I worked hard to do it. But it's the people I meet, it's the community that supported me and surrounded me. And in a kind of a small microcosm way, on the days that I wasn't very good, the days that things were tough for me, they still stuck in there with me. And that really essentially is what Jordan and I and everybody involved are doing, right? I mean, people need to know you care, because as insignificant as a basketball game is, we're talking about people's lives, people who they want to be better. You know, it's a struggle for them, but they can't do it alone. So I just encourage the community to listen and learn all they can and be a part of this team of people who can go out and bring some visibility and some healing to folks who are struggling. So I appreciate the platform and the ability to do this and go Jazz. You know, I got to throw that in there.
Go Jazz for
There
sure.
you go.
Hey, Big T, I just wanted to say thank you so much for championing something that's so near and dear to, I'm going to speak for Dr. Sellers here, so near and dear to our heart on this podcast that we've been doing for several years. If you would have told me that I would have had you coming on to spread a little message of hope here, I wouldn't have believed you. So thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure. Jordan, talk to you soon, my brother.
Love you, brother. Talk soon.
Have a
Love
great
you too, brother.
broadcast. Well, that was cool.
Pinch
What else
me,
are we going to
pinch
do?
me.
What else are we going to do?
Wow. Let's just, we had Thurl Bailey on our podcast. Let's just go home now.
Yeah,
I
all
mean,
good
that's
and done.
unbelievable. Jordan, it's not that you're not one of the coolest guests we've ever had, but that was the coolest guest we've ever had for sure.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
No two ways about it. He's just
Help me
genuine.
understand.
He's been dabbling in this for a minute.
Yeah.
We had him up at Aqua when I was at Aqua, and he was on the fence of helping us at Aqua. We had talked to him about that, and he was interested, and just didn't work out very well for either of us at the time. But you know, I've heard him speak about addiction, and he has no personal experience with it, none at all. The guy, I don't know if he ever abused a drug in his life. Like I'm not sure he did.
No.
Well, I know he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever abused a little bit of alcohol in college. I wouldn't be sure on that, but he doesn't suffer from this disease. I don't think he has any immediate family members that suffer from this disease, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he did. He had a loved one close, but
I feel like everybody does.
Well, it's
right?
hard not to in this
yeah,
day and age,
everybody does. And he just cares about people, but it is a little
That's
more
the
near and
thing.
dear.
I've heard him speak on it, and I didn't know he had much experience, but even without experience, the guy speaks from a heart that wants to help people, for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. He's
He's
genuine
a great
for sure.
speaker and a great motivational speaker.
Singer. You
Oh,
guys
for
heard him
sure.
Sing?
You know,
It's
well,
amazing.
but I've heard
Let's
him
get
play,
him back on. I want to hear a
Oh,
song.
it is.
I've heard
he
him
is
play
very
saxophone, and that's
good.
not bad
He's
either.
very good. He's very good. So I enjoy him. I hope to get on as like a guest or something, or like some weird talk through the game with him, because I talk basketball very similarly. I don't know how we were, obviously I played all grown up and traveled around the U.S. playing, but I poke fun at my wife when watching the game, because I'll say, oh, that happened, and then he'll repeat like this. We see the same things.
That's right.
You know, and so we see the game in a very similar way, and so I really appreciate watching and listening to him as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, should we talk about some recovery stuff? What do you guys want to talk about?
No,
I was
basketball.
gonna say
Let's talk some more
we
basketball.
I'm all about
It's my
basketball.
sport too.
I'll do one thing.
These guys
basketball.
always talk football, and I'm a basketball player.
I'll do
so-
one thing basketball because it's fresh and it still hurts a little.
Uh-oh.
I lost my first game coaching this week.
Oh, junior.
Yesterday,
Tough.
last night.
It's sad, dude.
Lost by 3. You know, I had to give
you know
some
what,
playing
though?
time, to everybody.
Oh, shit.
And one of the players, one of our best players, was like, please don't. We were on like a 11-2 run to end the game, and we were down by 1. And they have a time where you have to switch because it's junior jazz. It's not that big of a stage, right? It's junior jazz. But still, we lost. So it's all right, though.
Tragic, man.
Valuable life lesson right there.
Yep.
Give yourselves-
Plus, the refs probably made a couple of bad calls going down the stretch.
Can I
That
squirrel
caused you to
again?
lose.
Can I squirrel again?
Of course, why not?
He said it's my show. You can do whatever you want.
Whatever you
He
want.
said that. I'm
dude,
like, this is
whatever you want.
dangerous.
I
That
love
reminds me
squirrels.
of, I love squirrels.
No, I do. I love
This
going-
winning competitive side
all
of
over
me
the place.
reminds me of treatment. So I'm going to bring it full
Okay.
circle back. When I was in Cold Creek in treatment, and I talked to the old owner, Dallas,
What year
Tyler
was
Dallas,
this?
yesterday. 2010?
So you're in there as a patient in 2010,
2009,
Cold
2010.
Creek.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I was playing foosball down in the living room, waiting for group to start. And I lost. And I slammed the door. And slammed it on my therapist's face on accident.
He says he's claiming it's an accident.
For
now.
sure was.
They call that assault, brother.
But I mean, I was on his face, but right as he was about to walk in, and that whole group was all about that losing's okay. And, like really put me on blast. Like, do I really have to win every time? Is it that important? Do you need someone else to feel bad every time? And all this. I mean, it was a drilling. So, from that, I took that losing can be okay, but I've also decided that winning's okay too.
That's bullcrap. Losing is not okay, dude.
So, anyways, it just reminded me of treatment when that came through with my competitive side. I'm trying to get over it, but
A Buddhist philosopher would say it's enjoying the moment of competing. That's the real,
yeah.
right? That's the real.
Sure, for a Buddhist, but neither Jordan and I are Buddhists, so
Yeah, for a monk,
Okay.
maybe. For
I'll bring it around too. I when I was in treatment, my therapist gave me some stats on how long people were clean and sober and what percentage of people, and I'm not going to quote those because everyone's got slightly different numbers, but they're all similar numbers. None of them are 80% of people sober in a year. My guy said 15% of people are. Oh gosh, sorry, my ringer's on. That's my bad. My guy said 15% of people are sober in a year, and I looked at him and I said, "Do you think I can be one of those 15%?" And he stared at me and he wouldn't answer.
deep into your soul for
And
a
I
minute.
determined right then I'm going to kick this guy's ass and be sober in a year.
That's well, and that reminds me of how my dad said that competitive spirit. He's like, if you want it, you'll do it. You're stubborn. So he told me that in treatment when I was struggling, I was at my worst because they cut me off from 12 milligrams because I shared some subs with another guy, and they're like, "You're done."
Oh, you're that guy.
And so I had like a seizure, and I was. I mean, I had a heart. He was suffering.
Yeah, sure.
And he asked for it, and then he outed me in group that day.
Wow.
And
Oh, that's bogus.
yeah, he'll probably listen to this, and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
I don't know, I'm just making
Gosh,
stuff up.
damn you, Jimmy. But no, I got cut off immediately, and it was a rough go there for a
Ooh,
little
that's a
bit.
tough go.
And didn't eat, didn't sleep, seizure.
You were on 12?
Yeah,
at the
12
time?
to 0.
And you-
Well, they had prescribed me 18 milligrams, and I knew, being a drug addict, I don't need that much, right? So I was already kind of cheeking it and just because it'll make me sick if I take too much of it. But the doctor there didn't know, right? They'd go off the textbook, and right.
You were a master manipulator? Is that what you're telling us?
I mean, I had my moments, I'm sure. You have to be a drug addict at moments, right? But I don't think I was trying to manipulate that situation at all. I was trying to take less than was prescribed. But anyways, gave him that, and he outed me, and so that was a tough challenge for sure. But it is what it is.
So a couple thoughts here.
Yeah, go for it. It's your show, actually.
Our listeners, like even myself included, I would love to learn a little bit more about Jordan. So you've already shared that you've been in treatment, so you're one of us, right? You're in recovery. Tell tell us a little bit more about yourself. Like, let us kind of get to know you a little bit more. Obviously you're on here repping Diamond Detox, right? You're a power to be, reckoned with in the recovery community. But who do you feel like you are if you had to describe yourself?
Glad you asked that. I got a book being published, coming out. Leave it at that. Just kidding. No, but
You'll have to buy it to learn.
Yeah, it'll have a lot of that for sure. We're really excited about that. Beverly Hills publishers are amazing to work with. I did one 40-minute meeting virtually with them, and if I showed you guys the PowerPoint they created for me 48 hours later, they nailed it. They know like who I am, what I did. They captured everything, and it's beautiful what they're planning on doing with the book, but also positioning. And I'm just really excited about it. I've been wanting to. I've had people tell me for the last decade now, like, you really should write a book. And so it'll be part one, part two. One will be, from childhood, some of my upbringing, to, chemical dependency and addiction and homelessness and all the things, about 20% of the dark world, and then going into treatment and that whole stuff. But then part two will be the treatment world, going from pain to purpose type of thing, and owning a business in the treatment industry now, and all the crazy things that happen there. One of our clients, I won't obviously give any names, but suicide by cop, and just like talking someone off the ledge that was about to jump off a waterfall that I just took them to the week before, and just the stories. I mean, they're just entertaining. And so she's excited. I'm excited, and that's just something they'll do on the side of what we're doing.
I'm so glad you said that, because I am convinced you see these like Netflix, and they do these like kind of documentary type stuff, right? Like right now I'm totally hooked on Full Swing, and I've always thought it would be amazing if they could do like a documentary of a treatment center. Unfortunately with HIPAA, I don't know if that would work. But there's some crazy.
Recovery Boys was on Netflix.
I haven't even seen that.
It was about a sober living. And when I saw that, I thought, there is a way. If you have the right things in place. It is sketchy though. But it was entertaining, so I know it hooked people. Sorry.
Just some of the stuff and some of the stories you can't make it up, right?
No, you can't.
It's wild.
You can't. So we're excited about that. It'll have links to educational things and stuff like that as well. Some tools. And you mentioned a minute ago, I'm one of you guys. I'm in recovery. That's one of my topics I wrote down. That recovery word.
Yeah, let's get it. What does recovery mean to you?
Right. And for me, recovery is a state of healing where your body's actually physiologically able to recover. So it doesn't matter to me, and I want the recovery community to change, the shame about if someone is using or not using, or their number of days or whatever it is. If we see someone that looks like they're not in a state of recovery, whether they're not sleeping well, they're not eating well, they're in depression, anxiety, they're strung out on drugs or alcohol, whatever that is, they're not well. Let's get them on a path towards recovery. And there's lots of different paths towards recovery. And abstinence from mind-altering addictive chemicals is a really, intelligent path to take, right? Because I think you have a good chance if you're staying abstinent from those mind-altering things. But then you get me on all right, you're talking about caffeine, you're talking about nicotine, you're talking about sugar, you're talking about alcohol, you're talking about benzos, you're talking about stimulants. What are we talking about abstinence from? So I look at recovery as they're able to have connection, passion, and meaningful purpose, right? But on the physiological level, more of you're sleeping and eating and your body's in a state of healing. And it changed for me like 5-6 years ago when that Whoop app came out. It's kind of like a golf app, I think what it is. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
I haven't.
But it has this like recovery state. And so it tracks how you sleep.
Oh, wow.
And how much exercise. And it tells you like what recovery level you're in.
Yeah. To keep you like an optimal level.
Why don't we give this to our patients and our clients to see like what state of recovery are you in based on like if you're working out too much, if you're not sleeping enough, if you're
not eating good.
All those things go into what's your recovery score. And for me, even work too much, stress too much. So when you said you're in recovery, I'm like, yeah, my good days and my bad days. I bet, out of the last 222 days, maybe 22 of those have been in recovery. Slept good, ate good, all those things, right? I haven't overworked, I'm not overstressed. You know, those 5 days in Hawaii, I was in recovery for sure. Eating good, sleeping good, you know, and abstinence of all the things, right? Didn't have caffeine, didn't have any of those things. Sugar, I was on a clean diet, you know. So anyways, that's my recovery rant, if you will, that I hope people can just be more inviting, no matter what their path is, no matter what they're using or not using. If they look unhealthy, they look unwell, like, hey, how you doing?
I like it.
You know?
Yeah, I like it. I think when you understand, like, when from a counselor perspective, the co-occurring thing, right? I mean, it's like the substance abuse, did it come before the mental health, or did the mental health come before the substance abuse? All that good stuff. So if you're talking about like recovery being a return to wholeness, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's anxiety or whether it's alcohol or both, right? Yeah,
right. They're not well. Let's get them some help. And there's a lot of paths that can get them better. A lot of programs that can get you better, if you're willing. You know, whatever it is.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
So, because I made this cute little chart. Like so all these substances, right? Like sugar, dairy, even gluten, right?
Let's see this list that you got going on here.
Oh, it's crazy.
He's got
welcome
sugar,
to my
dairy,
brain.
caffeine.
Then all the drugs and alcohol and benzos and all the things, even Adderalls and Ambiens. It's like people take all those things and then they get mad at someone because they drink alcohol or something. Like, come on. But abstinence is your safest route. If you're using like common use, like moderation, right, type of thing. Chemical dependency comes from daily use. Then you have compulsive use with addiction, but they can all lead to disease. Right?
Yeah, and
overuse on sugar.
I think that's where I would kind of draw the line with some of this stuff, right? Is if somebody's taking, say, you know, an Ambien and they're taking it as prescribed, they're not abusing it, because in addiction, it's continued use despite negative consequences,
Correct.
right?
Yep. That's on here. That's on here right there.
And so it's once that there's like a line that gets crossed where they either start taking, Doc, I'm sure you've never seen this, more than they're supposed to in the prescription, right? Or it starts to negatively impact themselves. At that point, to me, that's when it's like, okay, there needs to be an intervention.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Whether it's exercise, work, or chemical use, right? Now you're doing it despite negative consequences.
Right.
Work addiction, exercise addiction, right? All those things. Even, again, nicotine or anything else. Sugar, any of those things.
I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize. I've been a little absent because we have a work problem going on, and I'm sure the listeners heard my phone go off twice.
It's almost like you're a medical director for a number of facilities.
Can't imagine you having anything to do.
I'm losing my mind. I told these guys that were calling me, I said, I'm on a podcast, please leave me alone, and they still tried to hit me up. So anyway, and it turned out not to be an emergency, but I run into this all the time where, people say, well, sugar is every bit as addictive as cocaine. Well, okay, let's argue that point. The reason people think sugar is every bit as addictive as cocaine is because it releases dopamine in the midbrain, which is the final common pathway of all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But we can't not have dopamine. That's really the point, right? If you have no dopamine, man, you are hating life.
No motivation.
That is,
nothing.
You got nothing in life that you enjoy. And so I think we can take these things a little too far as the things that are impacting your relationships. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. Sugar doesn't impact relationships very often. Mm. Yeah. Well, it does make me fat. But the point is, people don't lose jobs over some of these things, right? And so some of these things are important to us that try to protect our sobriety quite religiously, but there are for sure different levels of what can be addictive.
Yeah,
100%.
and I feel like it all boils down to like what's going to kill you the quickest,
right?
Right? Because like sugar, sure, it may kill you slowly, diabetes, bad health, right, which could lead to high cholesterol, which could lead to a heart attack. At the same time, you smoke a little carfentanol and you're just gone, right?
You could be dead, yeah.
So
We
it's
did
all
that.
on a scale, man. It's all on a scale.
Diamond Detox, we had to change our diet, exactly what you're talking about, because at Diamond Tree back in the day, we were whole food, no gluten, dairy. I mean, we were anything that was we used food as medicine, and we didn't have gluten and dairy and sugar. and people were healing at an incredible rate. But we were doing that at Diamond Detox. They were separate entities, and they just weren't ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I said the same thing. I said, let's remove what's going to maybe kill them now.
We're going to get
later.
We're going to get right back to this, Jordan. Right after this little sponsorship mention from a facility that you might be familiar with.
You are listening to We Do Recover with Jared Miller and co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. We'll be right back after this short break with more of We Do Recover with Jared Miller. Brought to you by Subs Recovery Center, Rise Up Subs in the St. George Hilton Garden Inn.
The team at Diamond Detox is compassionate, helpful, and trained to support every step of the healing journey. Your loved one's path to a healthier, happier life starts with a free and easy 20 to 30-minute assessment over the phone or a few questions submitted online on the Diamond Detox website. Assessments and admissions occur 7 days a week, depending on availability. To begin the path to recovery, visit diamonddetox.com or call 385-988-5332.
We welcome you back to We Do Recover with Jared Miller, co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. Brought to you by Subs Recovery Center, Rise Up Subs in the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. And now with part 2 of our podcast, Jared Miller and Dr. Terry Sellers.
Hi, welcome back. This is Dr. Terry Sellers, the co-host. Today we have Jordan Burningham on our podcast, and we've been having kind of a freewheeling little conversation. But we're going to get back to that. But before we do, I want to mention our sponsors. So Hilton Garden Inn has been a long-time sponsor of ours and has been very good to us. But if you happen to be traveling through southern Utah, Hilton Garden Inn would be a great place for you to make a stop. The Hilton Garden Inn is located in St. George. They have wonderful amenities. The rooms are huge. The facilities are clean. The staff is lovely. They're just really friendly folks. And
they're just also tied into the recovery community, like all the NA conventions there, AA Winterfest is there.
Yep.
The USARA does a ton of like community stuff in their big ballroom. Like the Hilton Garden Inn in St. George, Utah, they're just phenomenal.
We love them. We love them. Give them a shot at your business if you happen to be traveling through southern Utah. Our second sponsor is a company called Rise Up Subs. Rise Up Supplements is a nootropic supplement line aimed at optimizing brain function and supporting mental health. They have 2 powerful blends. One is Mindful Mood, and that helps decrease anxiety and enhance mood. Second is Mind Shift, which helps increase focus and optimize brain function. You can place your order at riseupsups.com. It's RISEUPS.com. Give them a
You
shot.
nailed that, Doc.
I can read.
Nailed it.
That was good.
I can read.
I want some of those supplements. I'm going to try them.
I have a friend that can get you some of those.
I really am serious. We've created a pretty proprietary blend at Diamond Tree from my 8.5 years at Integrated Wellness, working there with naturopath docs and chiros and lots of people. And that was some of the favorite work I did, which is why my goal in the next 3 to 5 years is to have that wellness clinic in Hawaii that has, an addiction recovery component, but it really is diagnostic to figure out what's the main blockages to healing. Whether it's psychological or is it, some pain or what is it that's going on? We're excited about that. But all those supplements were so huge in aiding the healing, not just the food used as medicine at the time, but those supplements were huge. So I'm starting to venture into maybe creating our own product. But if I can just...
Can I tell you how I started Rise Up Supplements?
Yeah.
So working as a clinician, I had a lot of clients, especially, I had clients who, it's funny, like we'll do street drugs, and I said we because I include myself, but yet we don't want to take prescribed medications, right? And I know Terry's just waiting to jump in on this, but let me share this. So I had a lot of clients that fell in that category, and part of being in treatment is to be medication compliant, right? Mm-hmm. And so I would ask them, like, have you considered an alternative? And oftentimes they would be like, no, I don't, well, I'm an herbologist, right? I have a certification for all that herbal type stuff. So I would start writing out like, here, try the ashwagandha, take this much, right? And giving them all the, on these sticky notes. And what I found, I went home one night and I said to my wife, I said, I got to just make a formula that would be really good for people to get their brain health going and get their brain back on board. People who have ADHD, struggle, especially if they're oftentimes a big reason why they use meth is because they feel like it makes them normal. The mind shift kind of helps, right? But it doesn't have that addictive property because it's not releasing massive amounts of dopamine in the brain. It also, you'll pass a drug test, right? One of the main ingredients in Japan or China, they don't give like amphetamines to their kids, and so they give them Nupeptin. Nupeptin is one of the main ingredients in that, and so it's just finding alternatives that people are okay with. It's going to help get their brain stuff going.
Love that. I'm all about it. Trust me, I'd go down that path all day long. Doc, you got something to say to that though?
Nope. It's just I get the weirdest things like, oh, I don't trust big pharma. You trust the stuff that some foreigner brought across the border in a balloon in a body cavity. You trust that, but you won't trust big pharma.
Yeah, no, I was that same person where I didn't take ibuprofen, all that. My family didn't believe in like anything, and then I'm out there just. Yeah.
It's listen. I gave up a long time ago, of course, trying to make logic and sense out of addiction because it's an illogical disease by a long ways, but. Recovery needs to be logical. Recovery needs to make some sense.
Yeah, for sure. I love those. I'd love to learn more about what you guys do for it because, there's a huge need for people to get some energy and focus, like you're going, and someone to calm down. And that's the cycle that gets out of hand often, right? If it's not a psychological trauma type of based thing, or it's not an opioid based, surgery or progression from those chemical dependencies, then you're probably trying to take caffeine or some stimulant to enhance your focus or energy, and then you can't sleep well, so you need some suppressant or depressant at night, so you're taking a benzo or an Ambien or alcohol to come down, and the next day you're groggy, so you got to do more of the stimulant, that whole cycle, and then you're like looking for something stronger. And
so many of my patients don't trust big pharma except the big pharma companies that make Ambien, the big pharma companies that make Adderall, the big pharma companies that make benzos. Those are fine. Those are fine. But if it's an antidepressant, now that's bad
or
news.
A vaccine.
That could kill somebody.
Yeah, antidepressants, though, it's interesting when you look at, like, herbally, you can take some herbs and have them kind of mimic what antidepressants do, right? So antidepressants work in the neurotransmitters of the brain, right? It either speeds them up or it kind of slows them down. And with the different herbs, you can essentially kind of do the same thing. For somebody who's hyper or super anxious, right, constantly just like me, high anxiety, the mindful mood is great to kind of slow them down. It's got the lion's mane in there. It's got the ashwagandha. So anyways, I'm not going to turn this into an infomercial, but I would love to give you a bottle of each and have you try them. And Doc, I need to get you some more too.
No,
dude.
I've got some. I'm in pretty good shape right now.
Oh, okay.
I do want to not come off as a guy that defends Big Pharma because Big Pharma's got its own share of sins. There's no question about that.
Thank you for that.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything Big Pharma's ever done has been great. Much of it has been really terrible. But the logic behind trusting heroin and not trusting, high blood pressure medication makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I actually loved what you said. One of the things that I talk to my clients about all the time is I tell them, if you can get 8 hours of sleep, if you can exercise, moderate exercise, you don't have to be running on the treadmill at a 7.5, but moderate exercise for 30 minutes a day, eat 2 pieces of fruit, eat 2 vegetables a day, you will start to feel better within a week.
100%. This radical well-being document that I created from a couple books I read, Super Brain and some stuff from like Deepak Chopra and a couple other docs, created this document, which is the lifestyle we did at Diamond Tree. Which included
was Diamond Tree like a treatment center, a detox?
Yeah, so we had a full continuum. So we did residential, PHP, IOP, GOP, and sober living.
Got you.
I sold that to Travis and them 2022.
Which is now
Diamond Recovery.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it confuses people. But there you go. We're Diamond Detox, they're Diamond Recovery. And I love that radical well-being. So, that sleep stuff you're talking about, eating 3 to 4 meals, the moderate 20 to 30 minute exercise,
fruits and veggies,
some mindfulness, meditation type of stuff every day. All those things were huge to just accelerate healing. And the microbiome is a big part of it, right? Yeah. And so getting that microbiome balanced again, and that's what vegetables can do with what they break down. Those enzymes are feeding your gut, and that gut plays, if not one of the biggest roles on your overall health, right? So if people aren't addressing their gut, you're going to be unhealthy, you're going to be tired, you're going to be sluggish, you're going to be, moody, because where's the serotonin and stuff being created? In your microbiome, in your gut, so.
They call the gut the second brain.
Yep, or the first, because I think it was created first in the womb. He might know that. I've heard that.
I have no idea.
I just heard that. It was on a Prime video. So
Yeah, love that. It always cracks me up, like when a client, especially they get into day treatment, right? They've gone to residential, they haven't had a ton of caffeine, they haven't had a ton of nicotine because they kind of limit that a little bit. And then they show up and they're just like stressed to the max. And in one hand, they've got a rock star, and the other hand, they're got their vape. And they're like, I got massive anxiety. And it's like, what did you eat for breakfast this morning? Nothing, man. I just got this monster rock star, right? And you're like, do you see a correlation here?
yeah.
Nope. Give me an anxiety med.
Yeah, I'm sure you get that all the time, man.
Give me a benzo.
Yeah. There's so many ways. The depression thing, because there's a time and a place for medications, for sure, pharmaceuticals, and Doc, I'm sure, knows best on that stuff. But, if you're out of a crisis or, those medically necessary situations, it's amazing what food and lifestyle can do for you. If you have, I think I've heard yellow fruit and walking for 10 to 15 minutes out in the sun has been proven to be better than most other practices for helping with depression. I don't know if anyone has any experience with that being true or not, but I'm pretty sure it works pretty well.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, please.
Quick story. My own personal thing. I lost my license to practice medicine in 2005 from drug use. And I was delivering babies at Utah Valley Hospital. I'll try to make this quick, but one of the things that Utah Valley said to me is, if you ever want to practice here again, you have to see our psychiatrist every week. And so I didn't know if I was ever coming back to medicine or not, but I didn't want to close that door for sure. So I sold a large house, and I turned a Porsche back into a dealership, and I moved into a very much smaller house that we rented. And we had just enough room in that house for one extra bedroom where I sat for 3 months. I sat in that room, depressed, didn't know what to do. What do I do for a living? I can't do anything other than medicine. I'm not smart enough to do anything other than medicine. So I'm sitting in this room, and I ironed and I watched sports. That's kind of what I did. And
it's a great visual.
But ironing calms my brain for some reason. I've always done all the ironing in my house. Look at how good my shirt looks. Anyway, my therapist put up with that crap for a long time, and then one day after about 3 months, he said, okay, I'm done putting up with your crap. Here's your assignment today. Go stand out in the sunshine for 10 minutes. That's all I'm going to require of you.
Beautiful.
And I walked out that day, and it was late March. I mean, it was 68 degrees, and the sun was shining, and the daffodils were coming up, and the birds were chirping, and the world was still rotating on its axis, unless, of course, you believe that the Earth doesn't rotate on an axis. I have some friends. But I right there, just the sunshine and that thing just changed me almost instantly. It was like, I gotta get moving.
Yeah.
I'm glad when I say something, I'm like, I think this works. And then the doc says, I can verify that from my personal experience. Yes.
Works for me.
I think I could stick with saying that then.
I love it. I love it. So, Jordan, tell us, you've got a book coming out, right? You own Diamond Detox, and that's up and running, popping. You were taking calls from people before we even came in here. Busy guy. I read on your Facebook post when you were, which thank you for sharing this little promo that you're coming on today, that you also have some expansion stuff going on. Talk to us a little bit about that. What's on the horizon for you?
Yeah. Always doing something, trying to just do more to help more people. And, our detox, we're just adding on, build next to it and onto it basically, and try to double that up and just help more people there. And I hate turning people away, even when we're trying to send them places. But so that's a cool thing that we're doing. The staff's never been better. I just love building a team and a culture that's happy and content. Just got done with our performance reviews in February. We do all of them, and just connect with each individual, and see how they're doing. And it's just a great culture of people helping people. We've really shifted the last 6 to 9 months to a very compassionate approach. The year before that, we really focused on policies, procedures, and rules, and really dialing that in. And then
This stuff's important.
it's very important. But some of the leadership we had at the time really focused on that too much, and the population wasn't given enough compassion there. So I wanted more trauma-informed care, more compassionate staff. And often you get that with people in recovery, and you're it's a slippery slope hiring people like us.
Yeah.
Right. We're needy. We're needy, and we're imbalanced.
Opinionated.
And we're opinionated, and we're so if we don't get enough sleep, and we don't eat right, and we don't take care of ourselves and get our needs met, we're not great to deal with. We're just a loaded gun.
I feel like I'm personally attacked on this, Jordan. I'm just kidding.
No, you threw that out there, that comment, didn't you? You threw the opinionated part out there. Bless your heart, by the way. I'm so excited for your next chapters. I can just feel it. I can see it. You're going to have so many good
gonna be
opportunities.
It's going to be
appreciate
big.
that.
Trust me, I've known this guy a long time. It's going to be
He
big.
is a good dude.
No
and
question.
An intelligent, good-looking fella with
No
a
question.
clinical background. Give me a break.
Let's put this out here. Jared could use some work. And if anybody wants an employee that cares about the patients, that's
Deeply.
the guy right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You would not regret having hired that guy.
He's going to have more job offers in the next week than, for sure, anyone I know.
I appreciate you both. Yeah, thank you guys so much. One of the things I would like to say is, when you go through a tough spot, like, I'll just be transparent, right? I was let go from Steps Recovery Centers, and I have nothing to hide. I can leave with my head held high. But one of the cool thing is I put a post out and basically just said, this kind of chapter is done. I've had beautiful memories with the people I work with. Never intending on the response I got. If you go and you read some comments, people are self-disclosing and sharing how, like, I've impacted their lives and coworkers, and it just, I'm not kidding you. Last night at 8:00 at night, as I was reading them, I was in tears. I felt very, I'm gonna get emotional now. Very appreciated. It was like, this is why I do what I do.
For sure. As you should, because
Thanks, guys.
it's hard work in this industry. You can tell that you care, and when you care and you do the right things for the right reasons, good things happen, period. And you can see, people that you've impacted, I write them. I went through it, and I was like, he's a good dude, and he's going to have a lot of options.
He'll be okay.
For sure.
I appreciate it, guys.
100%.
But he's probably a little scared right now. It's going to
It's
be
good.
okay.
It's the best, though.
It's going to be okay.
It's the best, those things in my life, when you see something like, and you go through a little bit of that pain, it just like refocuses, and you just re-energizes, you kind of prioritize a little bit, and then you shift gears, and you're stronger and you're better than you were. And so you'll look back and be like, that was the best thing. That was such a great opportunity. Not only, gratitude for it, right? There's, that part that you had a good experience to learn from, but then, what's next, it'll just be a cool stepping stone that you'll look back on, I'm sure.
I appreciate it. I look forward to it.
For sure.
This is your episode,
Yeah.
Jordan. Let's
What
get
else we
back
want
to
to talk
you.
We got
about?
7 minutes. Let's hit some
so
Jordan Burningham.
we did the expansion there with the detox. That's exciting. That's just a no-brainer. It's an easy thing for us to do. It'll happen, and it's happening. But the Wellsville thing is still this like lingering, exciting 80-bed supportive living.
Where is Wellsville?
It's in between Logan and Brigham City.
Okay.
That canyon, Sardine Canyon. It's a beautiful spot.
Okay.
It's the old Sherwood Hills. I shouldn't have said the S word. It's almost a cuss word nowadays.
That thing is infiltrated with demons.
Yeah.
What is it, like an old treatment center?
'Cause,
Yeah.
I was at one point, I was the medical director of Sherwood Hills for about that long.
I know.
Like,
He told me that. I'm like, you got out of there just
I
before
gotta
the
look this
FBI.
place up, man.
The FBI raid came like
Yes,
the week
Oh,
later.
wow.
There was some shady stuff
Oh,
going
man.
on there. So
they were
we try not to
passing
talk
out
about that.
benzos in treatment team.
Yeah.
What?
It was a bad situation. But then
How do I get a job there?
they've been gone.
First thought wrong, everybody. First thought
down,
wrong.
Shut down for a long time for a good reason. Rising Ridge tried to do some really good work on that location as well, at that location. And one of my partners, Shane, was there. And then a lot of my old team was there, and Deb and Lee and a bunch of people I worked with. My partner, Dr. Blazer, medical director, he was helping them up there. So they had a really good team. They just got some contracts. They were just getting going, helping people, and then the roof collapsed twice in 1 year.
It's
Like literally?
That's not a euphemism. The actual roof caved in.
Actual
Literally
roof
the roof
Yeah.
collapsed.
from the snow.
They got snow bad, and
So they've repaired it now, but
That's why I don't live up there.
Yeah, the owner up there is ready to move on from that type of operation and kind of wash your hands clean. So we're working on negotiations and getting pieces together, but have a clinical IOP support wing and then an ambulatory medical, physician assisted support wing, and then you got the exercise and fitness and basketball courts, indoor and outdoor, and all the 22 acres of, area.
Really?
to
Mother
explore.
Nature.
Mother Nature. It's buried in there. So if you go up the canyon, starting canyon, you won't even see it on your left.
Really?
just
I
a
got to
big
check
old-
this
it's
property
a-
out.
it's a
My
sweet
wife's
spot.
from Logan.
No,
I bet she'll know exactly this place.
It's not very far from where your wedding reception was.
Really?
Dude. Yeah.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So
It sounds rad. They
So
got
the communities-
basketball courts.
oh
and-
yeah,
They got
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So there's a community center downstairs. So we'll do a lot of good for the community. There's a restaurant that I've always dreamed the last decade of doing, like a sober cafe, sober bar. People can go and take juice shots and
Right.
socialize without having to use alcohol or something. We'll maybe do some vitamin B vapes.
Let's get an order of wheatgrass for all of us.
Let's go right here.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, I hope it does have that environment where people can connect and have fun and have a safe place to be. Anyways, there's a lot more I could talk about with that, but it's an exciting project that I'm just excited to try to go create some opportunities, because I saw the gaps in care in this industry was detox is not done very well. Hospitals don't want to do detox. They don't really do detox, right? And then you got people trying to do social detox in residentials that just go populate, mixed in there. That's tough
That's
to do.
extremely tough.
And where else do you go? So I think Diamond Detox is trying to do the best we can to do it the right way. And so I saw that gap I'm trying to help with. And then on the back end, when people get out of residential, it's just another cliff of like,
Oh,
what
that's
do
tough. Oh,
I
yeah.
do? I don't, I can't afford soberly, especially with Medicaid. We're really trying to help the Medicaid population, because if they don't have a commercial insurance, like no sober living wants you, right? Because they can't subsidize their cost.
Right.
And so what do? And so the homelessness issue and people coming out of treatment, people coming out of jail, we really want to help those people and create an opportunity for them.
That's awesome, man. It's awesome. It's also a tough population to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but somebody needs to do it, right? And I love that, like, you can tell that you totally know exactly what you're talking about, right? Because all the stuff that you just said, for all the reasons. That's amazing. Yeah.
It's the goal for sure. So we'll get that going as soon as we can, whenever we can. I'm in no rush. I'm in no hurry. What we're doing is great. I don't need to do anything else.
It's good to be your age.
Yeah, I'm in no rush.
I'm in a rush. I got like 5 more weeks of life left.
But
I'm in
you're in a
big
rush for what, Doc? What are you in a rush for? Nothing.
I'm in a rush. I got some stuff I need to do.
He's in a rush for tomorrow morning's
Golf.
18 holes of
Yeah.
golf.
I got stuff I need to do before I die. And listen, I'm not worried about dying. No, I'm not like
You
it's
didn't
not.
strike me as someone that was worried about it.
I'm
That's all
not,
saying.
and it's not like happening in 5 years, but it is happening in 20 years, probably. And when you think about that, all of a sudden you get a little serious about a few things.
Yeah, and let's not end on that note. Can we not?
No, we don't have to. We don't have to. I'm not all worried about it.
Hey.
Don't worry about it. But I got things I want to do before that happens.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have 50
Doc,
years to do
you're
them.
going to live to be forever, dude.
No,
Yeah.
dude. Have you seen me?
You got purpose.
Have you seen me?
You drink nothing but the purest of Dr. Peppers in the 64 ounces that you
It's
drink.
been a
it in.
while since I saw that type
64? That might be 100, my friend.
of. Yeah, that might be
164
100
ounces.
plus ounces.
Can we just take a second and just show a little bit of love to Copper Rock? Because they,
Oh yeah.
like, they're not an official sponsorship, but they are making it possible for all of us to get out tomorrow in a foursome. And have you seen this course?
Oh, man.
Sean Denovan, can you please pull that up? It
I
is
love me some Copper Rock.
one of the most beautiful courses in all of southern Utah.
I think it's the best course.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think it's
So-
a great course.
I just want
fun. Have you
we
played it?
know someone,
Oh,
right?
that's
We know
great.
someone who knows someone, and they were like willing to get us on, and so we want to show them some love. Check out this place. If you're in southern Utah, you got to check out Copper Rock.
Yeah.
They also have, like, you can timeshares. You can go and plan a whole vacation out there. Pools. They have different type of ATV rentals, all kinds of good stuff. So
I'm so excited. No, I don't pay that much for golf, but if I'm going by myself.
But I've never paid that kind of money for it. Like when they first opened, they weren't this
for
much.
for this event to pay with the business. I'm like, yes, let's go.
let's go.
I want to go play some good golf.
Well, we got a hookup though too. So
oh, that helped a ton.
Yeah.
that helped almost $200 a person.
Yeah,
Like that's unbelievable.
went from 1,000 to
Yeah.
210 or something.
Yeah.
220.
And at the same time, it's an experience. So if you got $200 and you want to play 18 rounds of great golf,
18 rounds. How
Or
about
sorry,
18? I'd
18
love
holes.
to play 18
Wow.
rounds. Are we going to try and get in 18 rounds tomorrow?
that might be a little much.
That's a lot of golf.
I love golf, but
We gotta go ahead.
My brain can't do 18 times 18, so I don't know how many holes that
We
is,
got
but-
just under a minute left here, Jordan. What's kind of a last message that you want to put out there for our listeners? Any shout outs?
Leave us with some hope.
I mean,
you know, I want to go back to reiterating the recovery part of just really helping people. Like when we see people in this recovery industry, like let's not shame anybody. Let's not judge anyone for their path towards recovery or what their recovery looks like. But if they're struggling in any way, shape, or form, let's reach out.
Yep.
Let's give them some love. Let's give them some hope. Let's give them an opportunity. We have lots of places that can help them. Lots of great people in this industry that are trying to do the right things.
Real quick, how can people get a hold of you? Like, how can people get a hold of Diamond?
DiamondDetox.com works fine.
Thank you.
is there a phone number?
Yeah, 385-988-5332.
Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate you
Hey,
coming on.
thanks,
Jordan
guys.
Burningham,
Appreciate you
Diamond
guys.
Detox.
Thank you for joining us today on We Do Recover with Jared Miller.
Help us spread our message of hope. Like, comment, and share.
If you have any topics or ideas for future shows, please share that on our Facebook page.
That Facebook page is We Do Recover with Jared Miller. If you or a loved one needs help, please reach out to us. Again, thank you for listening. Brought to you by Subs Recovery Center, Rise Up Subs, and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast do not reflect those of its sponsors.